Welcome to our channel. Lots of summaries of interesting films. Keep it updated. Press subscribe and turn on notifications. To support us, you can like and share our videos.
A guy named Gorr and his ill daughter are shown in the film's opening scene strolling in a dry wasteland. Gorr holds the girl in his arms until she dies. Later, he discovers the god Rapu's paradise, which is filled with food and water. Gorr, the final of Rapu's followers, appeals to the deity for assistance. Gorr renounces Rapu after being chilly shunned by him. The necrosword, a weapon that can kill gods that was just stolen from a being that attempted to slay the gods, then summons Gorr to use it. Rapu is killed by Gorr after he answers the necrosword's call. He then makes a promise to slay all gods. Korg relates the Thor mythos to a group of Asgardian kids. He was brought up in warfare and grew up to be a great hero who repeatedly saved the world but also lost many loved ones, including his mother Frigga and, of course, Loki. Thor has been on numerous adventures with the Guardians of the Galaxy, including Star-Lord, Drax, Mantis, Nebula, Rocket, and Groot, since his previous one. Korg observes that Thor is concealing a great deal of emotional suffering under his tough facade because he still misses Jane Foster, the love of his life. When Thor and the Guardians arrive, the planet has been overrun by alien birds. In addition to using Stormbreaker and flying into battle, the Guardians also engage in some shooting and physical labor. The monarch of the land presents Thor and the Guardians with two enormous screaming goats after Thor destroys all the invaders and their ships. Jane has been given a stage for cancer diagnosis back home. Darcy Lewis provides her with support as she receives chemotherapy. Dr. Erik Selvig also makes an effort to assist Jane, but things are not looking well. She researches Asgardian magic in order to get more assistance and discovers that Mjolnir might hold the key to her survival. Valkyrie is in charge of New Asgard, which has developed into a popular tourist destination with its own theater company of actors performing reenactments of Thor's exploits. Jane visits a museum where Mjolnir's fragments are still on display. Then, as Jane approaches, the pieces start to glow and respond. The team notices a distress signal coming from Lady Sif, who calls to Thor and appears to be in the midst of a significant conflict. As they fly away and attempt to tame the goats, Thor decides to break off his alliance with the Guardians, suspecting that they may be facing a greater threat than they realize. Taking Korg with him, he travels to Sif's position by opening the Bifrost with Stormbreaker's strength. When Thor and Korg arrive in a cold region, they discover the Phalaga's skeleton. Sif is found wounded and without an arm by Thor, who believes she is close to passing away. She informs Thor of Gorr's pursuit of the gods, which has earned him the moniker God Butcher. The Asgardians are being attacked by Gorr and his black berserkers when they teleport back to New Asgard. While Sif is being transported to safety by Korg, Thor uses Stormbreaker to destroy the monsters. Thor is thrilled to see Mjolnir approaching during the fight until it turns around and goes back to Jane, who is now dressed as the mighty Thor. The presence of her astounds Thor. With a quick flashback to Thor and Jane's romance, Korg starts his narrative. After their earlier exploits, they got serious and began dating, but due to Thor's heroics and Jane's scientific studies, they were unable to make the relationship work and had to split up. Thor is thrilled to see Jane again, though. Gorr then orders his monsters to kidnap the Asgardian kids and imprison them in a remote location. Axel, the son of Heimdall, projects an image onto the heroes. He is able to convince Thor that the children are detained in the Shadow Realm with the help of Thor. Thor decides to work with Jane, Valkyrie, and Korg to enlist the assistance of other gods. The group goes to Omnipotent City, a gathering place for various gods. As Thor praises Zeus as an inspiration, the four disguising themselves sit and watch as Zeus makes a big appearance. Zeus, however, rapidly reveals himself to be a jerk who is only concerned with orgies and not the welfare of the gods. When he captures Thor and outs him, the other three are forced to come forward as well. Thor informs Zeus and the other gods about Gorr's vow to pursue them all, but despite Zeus's silent acknowledgement of the threat Gorr poses, he tells Thor he is too busy to lend them his lightning bolt or even help. Zeus also states that Gorr won't be able to reach eternity, which Valkyrie informs Jane is a cosmic entity that can grant a want to anybody who calls it. Hence, Gorr will utilize his wish to eliminate all of the gods simultaneously. Zeus attacks Korg and breaks his body, but he is unharmed as Thor and his comrades struggle with Zeus's guards. Zeus' bolt is hurled through Zeus by Thor as payback. Korg calls for the goats to return with their ship so they can escape. Thor reassures Stormbreaker that they are still a couple as they go to the Shadow Realm, after noticing that the axe seems envious of the attention that Thor has been providing to Jane and Mjolnir. Also conversing, Jane and Thor seem to restore their romantic chemistry. Eventually, the ship reaches the Shadow Realm, where everything has lost its color. Because Jane is aware that Gorr will utilize the Bifrost to locate Eternity, she launches Stormbreaker into outer space. When Gorr locates them, he engages in combat with Thor, Jane, and Valkyrie, inflicting Valkyrie with injuries. Thor is forced to call Stormbreaker after Gorr threatens to kill Jane and Valkyrie if he doesn't. Thor tries to escape with Jane and Valkyrie by grabbing the axe and opening the Bifrost, but Gorr catches Stormbreaker just as they are transferred. Jane has become sicker and more frail and is now without her armor. When Jane is taken to a hospital, Thor discovers that using Mjolnir for an extended period of time is hastening her demise. Thor tells her that he loves her and wants her to live even though she wants to assist him in the battle against Gorr. After giving in, she permits Thor to leave on his own. Thor departs to confront Gorr after receiving Zeus' lightning bolt from Valkyrie. Gorr takes the kids to Eternity and lays Stormbreaker there to start the process. Thor shows up and fights Gorr with all of his might, but Gorr soon overwhelms him. As soon as Jane picks up on this, she pulls out Mjolnir once more and engages Gorr in combat, pummeling him and assisting Thor in releasing Stormbreaker. Additionally, Thor gives the kids temporary abilities to utilize their own weapons against the Black Berserkers. Thor and Jane work together to defeat the Necrosword. The door to Eternity has, however, been open. Thor reminds Gorr that he doesn't want vengeance, but rather love, before he may make his request. Thor decides to fight Gorr out of love because he would rather spend his dying moments with Jane. Gorr uses his desire to see his daughter one more time after realizing he is dying as a result of the Necrosword's extended corruption. As Jane's corpse disintegrates, Thor stands by her side, professing their love and giving her one final kiss. Before passing away, Gorr spends one last minute with his daughter, pleading with Thor to look after her. By stating that Jane's sacrifice made her a hero and an Asgardian legend, Korg concludes his narrative. Valkyrie returned to leading New Asgard while instructing the kids in self-defense with Sif's assistance. Korg recovered his body and met a male companion of his species. She is currently being raised by Thor as his own child under the name Love, and she is demonstrated to be just as tough as he is. Korg informs them that they are known as Love and Thunder before they leave their house to confront an approaching threat. Zeus is revealed to be still alive in the mid-credits scene and is preparing to exact retribution on Thor. He assigns his son Hercules to complete this assignment. Post-credits scene. Heimdall, a recognizable visage, greets Jane's spirit. He beckons her to come to Valhalla, the land of the gods,